Hey, magnified souls, how are you today? I am wonderful and I am so excited because today I want to talk a little bit about emotions. There are so many emotions. Some of them we really like, right? Joy, happiness, feeling fulfilled, harmony, love. We love those emotions, don't we? But what about the ones that don't feel quite so good? You know the ones I'm talking about. They're kind of murky and mucky. Shame, anger, hatred. These are the ones that are a little more difficult for us to magnify, to help us draw our frequency in. And I think it's all about our perspective about emotions. Emotions are not negative or positive. They are what they are. And if you think of them like yin and yang, that can really be helpful because you need one to balance the other. I had a download from the angels the other day, and they said, think of your emotions as your counsel. Each one has a seat at the table, and they are there to really guide you, to give you information about your current situation and what is going on. And when each emotion sits at the council table, there is an equal and opposite emotion that sits across from them at the table. And our job is to really get to know our emotions, to really understand each one of them, to really learn what they are about. When my son was going through drug addiction, I had so many emotions. This was before I had my spiritual awakening, but I had so many emotions. I would be furious. I would feel anger. I felt ashamed when he was arrested at school. I had the choice. I had to either take him to a rehab program or he had to go to jail. So I chose to take him to rehab. When I got home that night, I was so ashamed. I couldn't even go out to the mailbox to retrieve my mail because I felt like the neighbors were looking at me and judging me. And so I felt ashamed. And often when my son would come home high, I would be furious with him. I was so angry. And I would find myself reacting and saying things before I really could have any kind of control. I wouldn't be able to step back. I couldn't pause. That also led to problems with my marriage. And my husband and I had different viewpoints on how to handle this situation. Do we do tough love? Do we do soft love? How do we handle this? And so we became at odds with each other. And I felt like I had lost my best friend. I felt alone. I felt like I was floating in the universe. And I started to have anxiety. I suffered from panic attacks. Uh, my depression became overwhelming to the point I wanted to commit suicide. I just didn't feel life was worth living. So, how did I overcome that? Well, I found this thing called mindfulness. And I learned about emotions. I learned how to take a pause. This is something that could be really useful for each of you is in that moment, remember to breathe. When you feel the emotion coming up, whatever it is, shame, anger, hatred, victimhood, take a breath. In fact, take 2 or 3 deep breaths in and out. And when you breathe out, just let everything go. And breathing in and then breathing out. When you do this, you begin to activate your autonomic nervous system, which takes you out of fight or flight. And it gives you a little bit of space. That single breath can give you space to recognize that you're having an emotional response. And in that space, you have the choice in that moment to choose a different response, to choose to say to the person, I need a moment. I need a moment. I need to take some breaths before you actually respond. And this is critical because we are vibrational beings and emotions are vibrations. Each one holds a vibration. And if we're feeling angry, the vibration is pulling more of that same uh, frequency toward us. So our goal is to say, hey, I am feeling angry, and what do I need to do? Now, here's the tricky part. We have to get to know these emotions. And I don't know if any of you are familiar with Rumi. He is a old poet, and he wrote this poem called The Guest House. And I'm going to just read it to you, and I'm going to be looking the other way because I want to make sure I get it right. But it says, this being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome all and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house, empty of all its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be cleaning you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them all at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whomever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. For me, this means my body is the guest house and the emotions are the guests who frequently arrive unannounced. And I need to learn how to open my door and invite them in and get to know them because every emotion has a message for us. It has something it wants us to know. So here's the goal, either through meditation, and this is my favorite way, through meditation or for journaling. Ask the emotion, why are you here? How are you here to help me? What is the lesson that you have to teach me? When you begin to do this, you begin to also get in touch with your inner child because it's the inner child that's often had the experience of this motion and didn't know how to handle it. So I often, when I invite the emotion into my guest house, I also invite my inner child in. And I tell my inner child, I've got you. I'm an adult now and I can handle this. I'm here for you. And I can feel her recede. And then I talk to the emotion and I say, so, why are you here? I treat them like my very best friend who's going through something. Why are you here? Help me understand what's going on. This can be quite challenging and it can be quite freeing. So I would encourage each of you to begin to look at your emotions as guests in your body. You are not your emotions, they are guests. Treat them like they are. And remember, each of them is sitting at the table of emotions. They are your counsel. They will guide you. They will advise you if you let them. And there's no such thing as a dark emotion or a light emotion. They are all vibrations, and each of them have a different vibration. Certain emotions, maybe on the yin or yang side, one is light and one is dark, right? Yin and yang, and together they balance each other out. Light emotions tend to vibrate at a very high frequency. The lower emotions tend to vibrate at a very low frequency. So, knowing that, meet them both, introduce them to each other. If hatred doesn't know love, introduce it to love. They sit across from the table. Get them to know each other, to understand each other, because together they balance you out. And the more you practice this, the more you get to know your emotions, the more you become in control. Instead of your mind controlling you and your emotions controlling you, you begin to control you and you begin to take charge of your life and you become the higher frequency because no matter what happens, you have that pause available to you to say, hey, what's going on? To talk to that emotion real quickly and um, to allow them to have a voice, allow them to teach you, allow them to be heard. You will change your life. You will become the higher frequency. And before you know it, you will have that control over your life that you desire because the emotions are no longer in control. You are. You always have control of your life. You are all of your life. You are everything. And remembering that you yourself are the creator and you yourself are divine, you begin to realize that you are the creator of your reality. Your emotions don't dictate your reality. You do. You do by the choice that you make when the emotion arises. Get to know them, love them all, invite them into your guest house, and what the lessons, celebrate the lessons that they bring to you. And you will have the most magnificent life ever. Thank you.